Hey folks, Simon here, and it may surprise you to learn that I'm recording this video right now with a webcam. Yes, a webcam, and the footage I think looks absolutely fantastic here. And that's because this is no traditional webcam. This is the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite. And with its hardware gimbal and larger sensor size, you are going to be getting perfect video capture, whether you are streaming on YouTube, Twitch, or just taking part in Zoom calls. So the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite here is actually a follow-up to the original OBSBOT Tiny 2, which had slightly more features. I'll talk about that in a moment. The main difference with the Lite version of the camera here is that you do have a slightly smaller sensor size at 1/2 inch, which means that it's not going to perform as well in low light conditions, but I'm going to show you later that actually it still performs exceptionally. Secondly, it doesn't have voice control, and thirdly, it connects over USB 2 rather than USB 3, although to be honest with you, that hasn't been an issue for me at all in my testing here, but there are a few other subtle differences as well, but those are the major points that I discovered. But again, nearly half the price of the original Tiny 2, and you are still getting a fantastic 4K webcam here that literally blows away the image quality of any other webcam that I've ever used. So here's a quick comparison for you. Right now, I am showing you this video through my Logitech Stream Cam, which I'm not disparaging at all. It's been a great camera for me over the last few years for my streaming, but it is aging a bit. So this is low light conditions as well. I've got my studio lights turned off right now. But yeah, how does this look? This is the traditional webcam. Let's go ahead now and switch over to the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite. Straight away, you can see a massive difference there. And the image, first of all, looks quite a bit brighter. That's because of the larger sensor size with the OBSBOT camera. Okay, I still don't have any studio lighting turned on, so this is still low light conditions. But as you can see, the image is much brighter. It is much more crisp. It is just a much better image than you are ever going to get with a traditional webcam. So I'm going to switch back over now to my Logitech camera. And what I'm going to do now is turn on my studio light, and we'll see how both cameras are able to perform with that better lighting. Okay, so the studio lights are now turned on. This is still the Logitech camera, but it's obviously a lot better now because of this additional lighting. Let's go ahead and switch over to the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite here. Yep, and as you can see, still a fantastic image. The studio lighting certainly gives a boost even to this more advanced camera, but the great thing is it's just not as necessary. However, I think this image is looking brilliant, and I do want to clarify, with both cameras here, I have just plugged them in, turned them on, and that's it. I haven't fiddled about with any settings or anything, so this is just as they are going to look out of the box. Again, I think the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite is doing a grand job. What do you think? So the first thing you're probably going to notice design-wise is that this webcam does have a 2-axis gimbal. And this isn't something I've seen with other webcams before, but it is actually quite a useful feature. Being able to use the auto tracking here and the AI tracking is going to be a convenient thing to do, especially if you're moving around quite a bit in the shot. But from what I can tell, the gimbal is for tracking, so it's not going to smooth out your footage or anything like that, as you may expect with a gimbal system. So if you knock your table, for example, if your webcam is going to feel those vibrations, then you are going to get that shakiness in the footage still. And here's a quick mic test for the OBSBOT. So this is the internal mic for the camera, which doesn't sound terrible. I think if you're going to be doing a Zoom call or something, then this is absolutely fine. If you're trying to, set up a career on YouTube or Twitch live streaming, then you will definitely still want to get a proper microphone audio solution. But as far as webcam mics go, it's actually not too bad. Now, in terms of the video recording capabilities, this is a 4K webcam, as I mentioned, and you can record some stunning 4K video images at 30 frames per second. But if you want to have a smoother frame rate, then you can certainly drop this down to 1080p and record at 60 frames per second. Now, yes, it would be nice to be able to do full 4K 60 FPS recording here, although I don't know if that would be possible on the current USB 2.0 connection. But one reason I suspect they haven't included it here, and this is something that a lot of other YouTubers I've watched haven't really spoken about, this webcam does actually get quite warm. Now, it doesn't get absolutely roasting hot, and it's not shut down on me during any of my tests. However, if you imagine like a GoPro or other action camera, they tend to get quite warm when they are in use. I would sort of put it into that category. So this is the software right here. It's called the OBSBOT Center. It's a free software download, and you can set up a free account if you wish, but I haven't done so. Now, there are a number of features to make life a little bit more convenient with this camera. You've got some buttons here just for recording and what have you, but you can also set up hotkeys to start recording and to stop recording. And we can also access the beauty menu from here. So this will allow you to add a few touches if you wish to the image. So you can turn on bokeh, it's called. This will add a blur effect, which you can adjust down here. If we head over to retouch, there's a few here like presets that you can use. So here's the man preset, but you can also adjust these as well. There are also some color filters, which are pretty good. I like the clear filter. I like the crystal filter. The fresh one adds a nice bit of colour grading, in my opinion. And there's a few you can play about with as well, including a bit of a cinematic look here. So let's go ahead and come out of the beauty settings for now. I do just want to show you that there is some tracking here, so we can go ahead and enable that. And that's automatically going to detect my head. So as I move around here, the camera is going to automatically adjust, which I think is a really, really neat feature, especially if you know there's going to be movement in your shot. For me, because I'm just going to be spending a lot of time sitting in the same place, I probably won't use that all that often, so I'll go ahead and disable that. But you can adjust other settings here. You can have the camera zoom in, for example, on your lower body. Over on image, then you can adjust the image settings, such as the exposure and the focus. I tend to keep these on auto mode because I find that the camera actually does a pretty darn good job of itself without me having to play about with it. But yeah, the software's not terrible. You can save your presets as well, so you can reload those depending on, you know, what you're going to be using the camera for. You may want to have different presets. But yeah, that's just a basic overview. Some other neat features here include, for example, hand gestures and 4x digital zoom. As I mentioned earlier, there's no voice control. That is something you can get on the Tiny 2. But the main reason I love this camera is because the image quality is like nothing else I've ever seen before with a dedicated webcam. And I do want to mention it is fully compatible with Windows 10, Windows 11, but also Mac OS version 11 upwards as well. But I do want to stress that I did purchase this myself, so the video has not been sponsored, but hey, this is a really good upgrade. So thanks for checking out this video, guys. Hopefully it's been helpful to you, and I'll catch you next time.